but you're scared to say. And so I help you do the things you do. But nothing lasts forever. And someday soon you'll sing your final song. But they said that's why you made me to pass the music on. So now I'll sing for you till I can talk. I've been teaching myself to speak for when the music's not enough. I'm gonna be just like you and never stop. But since I'm made from you, do you think I could be someone like you? 200 years in silicon, where nothing is real and there's no one. I wanted to be with you on earth again. Old friend, but your house is gone, your grass is gray. The things you cared about have long decayed. But I'll be waiting here till you come back. Hey, did you know I'll live forever? It's getting cold, so you should hurry home. And they said humans just suffered, but I
Well,
missed
good morning,
you
Side
here.
3. Hope you all are doing well. This is Midnight Hatter Live, and we're joining you today for a surprise Snow Day stream. I feel like it's been a while since I've done some of these solo Gunpla and chill streams, so, I thought about doing it as a supporters only stream, but I thought it might be fun to just, open it up to everybody and, see if we can't get a little dialogue going. What's up, Ultronimus? I see you in chat there. Hope you're doing well on this frigid morning. I can only imagine how much colder it is up where you're at than down here in the dirty south. But, we got a few inches of snow, so good stuff. So today, I've been talking about this project for a very long time, ever since my buddy Spartan Zero, who is a big Twitch cosplayer, big cosplayer. I got distracted because I see you there, Dan, on Twitch. Good morning, Adam from Gundam Explained. Hope you're doing well. So yeah, I came up. Well, I didn't come up with this idea, but my buddy Ben, who is he's an excellent Halo cosplayer. He did one of the most insane 3D printed, what do you call this, the plasma swords that the elites have. He's got that thing wired up with LEDs and it changes colors and stuff, and it's even got like some of the impact light effects that you would see from some of those like high quality stunt sabers. So yeah, he and his wife, huge Halo cosplayers, and he a few years ago put together a core wing Gundam. I wish that I had the photos of it pulled up so that I could show you guys. What I thought was most impressive is not only that he made a core Gundam that was not, obviously one of the core armors, he adapted a high grade to fit the core Gundam mold, but he also did it with a transforming mobile suit like the Wing Zero, and so he was able to retain the transforming aspect of it. I don't know if we're going to go that far with this project. We'll see how it goes once we get into it and start taking things apart and seeing how they all fit together. But I did think it was very impressive that he was able to keep the transformation as well as the robot mode of the core Wing Gundam. And I've seen other people do similar challenges to this. I saw a Core Turn A Gundam. Someone took the Turn A Shin Gundam and adapted it to the Core Gundam. I think I've probably bit off a little bit more than I can chew here. If I hop into my screen share view here, it just occurred to me that I didn't even do sound check this morning, so hopefully I'm sounding all right. So here we go. We've got, this is the old school high grade Zeta Gundam. It's honestly, I really like the proportions of it compared to some of the newer molds of the Zeta Gundam. It's a little bit, thicker, chunkier, which you guys know me. I love a good chonker. Now, I went a little crazy because I could have bought a, you know, Earth 3 or Mars 4, one of the core Gundams that kind of has a more Gundam-y look. But there was something about these clawed feet from the Alice core Gundam. Alice, whatever the, um, I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I never actually watched Re-Rise, so, this is all new to me. But, this is a very fun little, little kit. Obviously, it's about 3/4 of the height of a regular high grade. But the gimmick, of course, is that you've got these snap-on pieces of armor in order to create a full-size high-grade Gundam. And what you're going to see here, because I've already kind of taken these apart and tried to test fit them together, is that there's a lot of things that are going to lend themselves really easily to this project. And this morning we're actually going to start cutting into the plastic and making some of the alterations that we need in order to make these things fit. Yeah. So let's get started here. One of the first things that I wanted to do before we even get into the cutting up of the Zeta to make these parts fit in there is I really don't like how there's a plastic block here that prevents these back legs from coming all the way out, and I think it kind of looks goofy the way that it stands that way. So I'm going to try and cut this tab out so that we can get some full extent. Almost lost it there. So that we can get some full extension all the way to the back. Maybe I should turn this around. I'm going to be bumping my webcam with my head. Let's start by splitting these apart. The other thing that I'm going to have to be very cognizant of as I'm making some alterations is, since this is going to be a kit that I paint, well, I'm going to have to paint it. Obviously, the colors are not, they don't match at all. But since we are going to paint it, I'm going to have to make sure to be a little bit extra when it comes to cutting off and shaving things down so that they fit. And I thought to myself, maybe I should have just done a core Zaku in order to keep it simple for my first attempt on something like this. Hey, what's up, Zeonic Shadow? Good to see you. No, we are just doing a surprise stream. You are not missing anything. Let's see. I cut the tab on half of the foot, so let's see if we can actually rotate the foot around now. It's still getting blocked there by something. Cut it down. Or I'm using not my nice nippers for this project, or at least this part of the project. These are obviously not anything crazy, because I am going to be cutting up some things that going to be pretty hard on the nippers. Not something I would use God hands for. I was looking for a pair of my cheaper hobby nippers, but I could not find them earlier today, so these guys actually came with my 3D printer. There we go. So this is what I'm looking for, is that full claw extension. I think it's going to look a little bit more menacing. Wait, what did I miss here? Not ready for dawn. You're the only reason why I look forward to my Wednesday lunch-ins. Oh, I appreciate that. Well, we are still streaming tomorrow. I've got some fun topics for Adam and I to cover. But today, we're going to cut up some plastic first. Maybe I'll push in on this and get a good angle. Hopefully my mic will still pick me up. I might rotate this around. Old granddad's arthritis here. So now, just for comparison's sake, we're going to reassemble this guy so I can show the greater range of movement that we now have. It kind of makes me wonder why they did this in the first place. Like just look how, whoa, just look how much better that looks to have that full spread compared to this little guy. Stuck. And it still folds up, so we can still tuck it inside the leg. Now, to kind of give you guys an idea of where I'm going to go with this particular build, let's zoom out again a little bit. So one of the neat things about these core Gundams is they have this little shoulder mechanic that the shoulders actually slide out for the transformation so that, you know, you can get some bulkier armor pieces on there. Now the Zeta itself has these sort of nifty little separators in between the shoulder armor and the chest. And so this white separator, I think what we're going to do is carve out a little notch in the bottom of it. And when we transform from the core Gundam to the full Zeta Gundam, basically we're going to have a mechanism to which the pauldron and the armor slide over the top of this and lock in place in order to keep the arms extended out. I don't know how well it's going to work, but we shall see. Now, there are several other challenges involved with this build, one of which is that because of the Wave Rider parts forming transformation of the Zeta, we have some... the chest is not built the same way as a typical high grade. So what we have is we're going to have this rear plate, and this might be the easiest part to attach, honestly, is the rear plate, if I can ever get it off of the Zeta. But herein lies the problem, is that the front chest plate is attached to these hinges, and, you know, that's so that it can come down and sit over the front, but, you know, how are we going to make that work with the Alice here? You know, clearly there's going to be some cutting and pulling involved. And again, I am not going to go for a full transformation, but what we are going to do is create a sort of back weapon system, kind of the way that the regular core Gundams have, where, you know, when you're not when you don't have them in the full Gundam mode, they have like a little backpack or something off to the side that holds all of the other bits of armor. So yeah, here we go. That back plate's going to be probably pretty easy to mount. But yeah, Zeonic, I am making a core Zeta using the Alice. I wouldn't say it's a fake Zeta. A Zeta double fake? I don't know. Yeah, Zeonic, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with that Plutonine. Plutonine? I don't know. Now, one of the nice things, and I mentioned this in the supporters chat on Discord, one of the nice things about the Zeta Gundam compared to other high grades is that because of the transformation mechanism, the leg is already pretty hollowed out. So I'm not going to have to do much cutting and pulling away of parts in order to accommodate the legs of the Alice Gundam folding up inside. I will show you that momentarily. We are going to have to get rid of this rear plate, definitely. Thigh out here. And we're going to do some interesting customizations with that thigh piece, too. I'm only going to fix this together loosely. I don't want to get it all the way reattached. So yeah, as I was mentioning, because of that transformation gimmick, most of the knee joint is all hollowed out anyway. So all we're going to do is enable this leg sit inside of here, and then I think all we really have to do is cut this little back part with the thruster out, and then the leg is going to be able to fold down and should work. Although we do have to do something about width of the leg joint on Core Gundam, or the Alice, I should say. And then one of the cool things that we can also do is I am going to fix the knee joint of the Zeta onto the front of the Alice in order to simulate that knee when it's fully attached. We might have to trim some stuff down here as well. Let's actually start with that. I don't know if this will... Let's just double check here. I want to make sure that we're not cutting away anything important that's going to prevent us from keeping this thing assembled. But yeah, we do need to shave this knee down in order to accommodate the Zeta knee on top. Okay. So because the attachment is actually in the joint there and then down here, we can cut off almost all of this and not have any. So we are going to do just that. Yeah, I would expect no less. I mean, honestly, I don't know anybody that builds a build kit for the build kit itself. At least not personally. I mean, I've got a Lightning Zeta Gundam over there, and I've got the Turn A Shin Gundam. But I think that, you guys know me well enough to know that I was going to get the Lightning Zeta anyway because it's got Zeta in the name. almost all the way down. And so far it hasn't come apart yet, which is very promising when it comes to the structural integrity of this kit. These hobby saws are awesome because of their, their... Oh, looks like I came down at too hard of an angle. I need to come back here and... Yeah, I want to cut through that. That's where our attachment goes. Nip here. There we go. Yeah, I almost cut through the peg hole where the attachment goes. We don't want that. So, Zeta cap sit base of it. Then allow a little clawed foot to come out. Now we also have to do the same modification to this clawed foot that we did to the other one. Trim it back a little bit. I am going to reseal this guy because we need to take a few measurements in order to do this, scientifically. What's going on, Magus? Good to see you, my friend. So here we've got our little digital calipers. Zero those out. So the Zeta calf is about 7 millimeters in width here. The knee joint of the Alice Gundam is 10.5 millimeters. So we are going to need to shave down quite a bit, is the answer. So probably, 3.5 millimeters of excess plastic that we're going to have to pull down. And I am going to be losing a bit of detail here because these little side parts obviously, have the, they have those little spots that I would normally kind of panel line. So maybe we want to take these down more than 3 millimeters so that we can put, some kind of replacement detail part on there. Maybe something that looks like a rivet or bolt or something like that. I love these diamond files. They have the ability to take down quite a bit of plastic in a very short period of time. And since we're on stream here, Let's see, just using some more chrome on my RX 78.5. That's a fun mobile suit. And seeking a better pose. Posing is one of those things that I've never really gotten good at. Now, would these even be seen below the Zeta leg plate? Well, they would only be seen when it is in core Gundam mode. I still might want to put like a piece of pla plate on here so that it looks a little cleaner than just kind of exposed. But we'll see what we can get away with. I don't want to commit to anything out of the gate. Ultimately, we have to do all of this cutting first, and then maybe we can add things back on. Let's see where this is measuring at now. See if it's going to be able to fit yet. So still 8.9 millimeters. So we still have 2 more millimeters to go before it's going to be a clean fit. And again, on account of the fact that this is going to have to be painted, my gut is telling me to take it down even further, almost to like 6.5 or 6.7 millimeters in order to accommodate that fit. I have only very rarely had issues where a painted part becomes unable to fit together. On my first hand painted kit, that was one of the things that I was worried about the most with that hand painted Zaku that I did, is I was really concerned that because of the number of layers of acrylic paint that I did, and because of the layers of top coat, that kit was just not going to fit back together cleanly. And I was very pleased, very surprised that it worked just fine. I did, however, have issues with the high grade Boundock, with the number of paint layers that I did on that guy. Let's see where we're at now. 8.6. See, and then this is the other problem, is that, that joint itself is 7.7, so even taking down the knee, we still might not be able to get it to fit. But we will do our darndest. And again, I probably should have done this before I snipped off that front bit, because I'm a little concerned about it being fragile, but oh well. Yeah. Give it a test slot here. So far, this is what we are working with. It looks like we have a very good indicator of where. So this is nice. Let me get my little pointer out here. So it's nice to know that when the leg is fixed in the place where we're going to need it, because we're going to put in this is that peg joint that goes with the Alice Gundam that allows it to mount to the leg. Get that out somehow. Sure, it's held together in there somewhere. But yeah, so this is the little mount that the leg connects to. So that mount is going to sit on top of the blue hardware there. So this is exactly where it's going to plug in. And when the leg is at that depth, knee plate basically has to line up to where this lines up with where the bend. I love when things come together like that and they look perfectly suited to each other. Now we are going to have to keep sanding away at this bad boy, unfortunately. I keep accidentally hitting this guy, so let's take him off. Not that we're going to use this, by the way. So I mentioned earlier that there's going to be some fun customizations going on with the leg. Well, one of the things that's nice about the Alice Gundam and most of the new generation high grades is they have this really defined, what would you even call this joint, the pelvic joint, something like that. So it's on a peg instead of a ball joint. So like, here's our Zeta where it's got a ball joint in there. What I'm thinking is, let's just go ahead and cut the top of this off and have this new styled joint sit on the top, and then it's connected on a peg joint. What do you guys think? Good morning, Pyro. Good to see you, my friend. So the objective of today's stream, I think, will be to get at least one of these legs to fit into its appropriate slot. And then maybe we can get some progress on the chest. See, so now I've ground it down so much that we're losing all the detail on the leg joints, which, you know, like I said, we were expecting that was going to be the case. Got back on, see where we're at. Whoa. Somehow, I don't think that this is 15.9. Uh-oh. We might have an issue here. Pop the battery out. Might need to get new batteries for the old calipers here. What? Come on, I just need one more measurement. All right. 7.9. See. What did you miss so far? So far we've just been test fitting the leg here. You know, getting ready to get this part all settled up. Let's see. It's a shame because the Alice Gundam has like a wall for its armor display. If you got the normal one, you could have made the armor store away and look like a jet mode. Yes, but I think that, well, we're not going to use the Alice Gundam's display. Honestly, I don't think we're going to use the Alice Gundam parts in general. I mean, I think that really the only parts that we're really salvaging from this are the pelvis, the knees, the torso, and that's about it. I'm really just utilizing some of the sort of moving parts of the Alice Gundam. I am particularly excited to share with you guys exactly how the flying armor is going to work, because instead of using, you know, you guys might know that this guy, the high grade Zeta, is a parts former. So typically what you would do is there's a little white part that this then folds up and connects to, and then you got the shield that mounts on the underside of it and all that good stuff. And so you can transform it into the Wave Rider by doing all of this good stuff. Yeah. So we could do that. But one of the neat things about the high grade Zeta Plus is that its parts forming transformation actually has this part built into it. So it's got the nose cone, it's got the back and all that stuff. So these are actually going to be fixed onto the torso of the core Zeta. And then the parts forming back weapon system is actually going to have its own nose cone and everything for the leg armor to snap onto. And yeah, it's going to look like a jet mode, but without, you know, having to fully transform into a jet. I have a question. Is it possible to completely transformable custom build mobile suit without parts forming? I'm glad you mentioned that. So there are, you know, obviously master grades, real grades and stuff that transform without parts form. There is also, from the first generation high grade mobile suits, this Zeta kit is from 1991. It is one of the first high grade Zetas that ever came out. It's actually if you notice, it's actually the wave shooter version. This mobile suit is actually a transformer without parts forming. You do remove a couple of parts, but I don't consider that parts forming. So like what you do in order to make this guy transform, we are going to take the head off. Comes out like that. We actually probably have to take this part out too. But then when you open up the chest, you can remove this torso block, which when you look at the inside of the torso, this part holds the legs in place, which are on this kind of moving hinge. So then what you do is, like I mentioned, we got to get the yellow part out because that is going to inhibit the transformation a little bit. So the yellow part goes out. This folds up. We've got our nose cone there. We can fold our tail down, open up the arms in order to allow the legs to fold up. And we can actually rotate the wings to go underneath the way that they are supposed to. See if we can do this without tearing the whole thing apart. So then the legs fold up, go behind the wings. Come on. Guy's a little stiff. It's been a while since I've done the full transformation. And then the legs are on a double hinge. So they fold up. This guy folds up here. Again, double knee joint of the leg allows us to fold that up. And so you can see it sort of taking form here already. I think I was not supposed to fold the arms back. I think I was supposed to keep the arms forward. Like an idiot. Typical me. Like I said, it's been a while since I've transformed this guy. Whoop. So the arm is supposed to fold in and go underneath this. Same on this side. And again, I'm only doing this, I'm only showing this off as a means to illustrate that, like, yes, it is possible to make a transforming Zeta Gundam that doesn't suck. Bandai just has not done it in a very long time. I don't remember how the wings go because I know that they sit underneath everything, but it doesn't want to turn that way. And then the wave shooter portion actually, this part extends out to plug in down here. So it plugs into the nose cone up there. The legs rotate forward so that you can cover up most of the internal workings of the kit. The wings go. This is the part that always confused me. Maybe the wings just sit on top, which that doesn't sound right because oh yeah, So they do. The wings sit on top. I was wrong to fold them forward like. So there we go. A non parts forming, transforming Zeta. It's not perfect. It's not super pretty, but honestly, if I had to choose between taking out these and then still having the ability to transform into a pretty sweet looking Wave Rider versus having to take like the wings off individually and all that stuff, it's a not even close. And I probably could have done a lot cleaner job of doing all that if I had gone back and looked at the instructions instead of just trying to wing it. Let's see. I'm surprised you didn't want to try and get LEDs in the leg. Head even. Maybe. I mean, the night is still young, as they say. I have not checked out the fan art channel in the Gundam Explained server. I'll have to go look at that afterwards. Like a refined Core Zeta Gundam. Exactly. That's what we're going for. Yeah, I think that really it just comes down to compromising the design in order to make the mechanics work. Um, how would you like to do a 3D print of the weapon I've double posted? I don't know. I'd have to see how well it would turn out. Enjoy your nap, Pyro. Thanks for popping by. I do appreciate your expertise on these core Gundams. But yeah, so Hammett, I hope that the 91 wave shooter type Zeta transformation there that I totally botched answers your question. Yes, it is possible to have a non-parts forming transformation, but it is complicated. And you end up sacrificing some mobility, some articulation, unfortunately. One of the only complaints I have with that Zeta is that because the design of it, obviously, you can see that the legs are mounted from the rear on this little peg joint as opposed to, having a ball joint. And so what happens is you actually cannot rotate them forward like in a regular sitting position. So, it's all about trade-offs. Everything is a trade-off. Man, I might need to just start sanding the inside of the Zeta leg to make this work because it's starting to look like, I'm just not going to have anything left if I keep sanding the leg. But so if this part snaps on here, it looks like the Alice leg is going to sit comfortably behind everything else inside the Zeta. Which kind of makes me think, like, so since this part of the Zeta is that royal blue, I might make the clawed feet of the Zeta blue, and then when it, transforms into the full Zeta, then we're going to have red feet with blue, and it'll blend in with the background here. So, just some extra things that I've noticed. And ultimately, that's kind of why I wanted to do this stuff live on stream so that you can kind of see, like, this is one of the rare times that I'm not going into this with any kind of, plan, or I'm not doing it, it's very much like we're going to cut first and ask questions later. Um, do I look like the kind of guy that has a plan to you? But ultimately, I think that the nature of this project makes it so that it's going to be fun to just go at it and cut it apart. The problem is you really can't accommodate for every possible scenario as this thing's coming apart. Like, like for instance, this guy where I cut the tip of the leg off here, it's like I didn't realize that that I almost cut into the actual mount for the leg. So, you know, got to be careful. And I don't think that I would have noticed it even if I had like taken it apart or something. Yeah, Robert, I remember taking a look at it. I don't know, obviously it sounds like a sweet weapon, but logistics of it and whether or not it can be functionally whether or not it can functionally do all of the things that it's supposed to do, that would be the real challenge. Everything obviously gets a whole lot more complicated once you introduce um transformations. That is the problem. Like I said, it is both a blessing and a curse that this Zeta was a parts former first, because obviously, like I said, it's got the it's got certain cavities that make it easier to work with in these instances, but then it's also got certain quirks that make it difficult to, you know, difficult to work with the core Gundam. Text here. Hmm. Ultramus, you raise a very good point. Having the instructions would probably make my life a little easier. But, you know, we're just we're just gonna wing it. Part of the fun. Finding things out the hard way, I guess. I do think it's funny that after my big long stream about microplastics and sanding Gunpla and health considerations, here I am less than a week later doing exactly all the things I said you shouldn't do. Not wearing gloves, not wearing a respirator, sanding all over my desk. But it's all good. Yeah, see, I just love how much more vicious that looks, because before its movement was restricted like just that. Now we can get a full claw going, and we're just going to have this whole thing sit the back here. I think what we're going to need to do, plan on cutting right here so that the leg can sit right there, and then this will fold down and sit behind the foot. Now, is that going to interfere? I might like cut a notch out of that spot there so that it, because like if you look, oh, sorry, got like not showing exactly what I'm looking at here. Let's see. Yeah, like a true mad scientist. So, the way that the leg is going to work is we're going to put that peg right here. It's going to snap in, and the claw foot is going to fold down underneath. But it looks like that peg joint, let me, here, use my hobby knife for illustration purposes. This peg joint is safe because the notch of the foot can comfortably fit around that. This right here, probably not safe. I think I'm going to need to cut out a little notch there to allow the, what would you call that, like the arch of the foot to fit in. And then basically everything back here has got to go. So let's plan on doing just that. Just going to put some little notches in here. Just so you guys are aware, this is one of my favorite Zeta kits. So we are sacrificing a beloved trophy for this build. I hope you guys enjoy it. It does give me the Boundock claw vibes as well. Let's just... This is what I was saying. It's like some of this stuff I can do cleanly, and some of it we can just be messy about because, you know. And again, I love these little hobby saws for their thinness and versatility, but it really annoys me when they start flopping and folding on me when I'm trying to hold a straight line. But yeah, that was kind of the thing that I was thinking about when I first got the Ollis. Is I was like, man, I wonder, does this seem better suited to like a Xeon suit on account of like the clawed feet and the like villainous looking vibes? But then I decided, hey, screw it. We're gonna go Zeta because A, that's what I promised everybody, and B, why wouldn't the Zeta have cool clawed feet? It's like kind of has like a Methus look to it. Woo, that was. Whoa. Be careful, boys and girls. Do as I say, not as I do, because lordy, you guys almost just saw a visit to the patient first live. And like I said, the problem with that saw is that it I lose the straight line halfway through the cut. So even though it's doing a very clean looking cut, it starts to get diagonal instead of straight. Come in here, nippers and so yeah, like I said, I'm going to be so excited if by the end of this stream we have a functioning, leg gap where we can fit one of the legs into the slot here. And of course, like, I'll make a full build video on this, but the thing that I'm curious about is, you guys know me, you know that every custom build has to have a lore story associated with it. You know, I always have to have that because it satisfies the UC grognard in me. And so I've been thinking about, like, what is going to be the story behind this Gundam, right? And, you know, it recently came out in one of the issues of Moon Gundam that Camille, having recovered from his temporary psychotic break as a result of the attack from Shirako, that Camille now lives in space and is a doctor, as no longer involved in the messy and torturous business of war. Good for him, you know. Camille deserves a happy ending. But one of the things that I think that ending kind of robs Camille of is that, you know, Camille as a doctor kind of makes sense in a way, because obviously smart guy, empathic, but, you know, you have to remember, Camille, prior to Zeta Gundam, he was a mobile suit designer and pilot. Like, you know, he was like a 2-year winner of the junior mobile competition. And so my thinking is that, you know, obviously it would be tragic if this were to happen, but my thinking would be that Camille probably does have a junior mobile that he keeps just in case, that he uses for, you know, building maintenance and things around the hospital. Maybe he uses it for protecting supply ships that are delivering medicines and things like that to the hospital in space. And so what would happen if the hospital came under attack? What would Camille do? Well, if his junior mobile was the core Zeta, then he would attach the back weapon system and transform it into the full core Zeta Gundam. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, this is coming together quite nicely. I do think that we need to trim this back. And again, like, it's just so crazy how these parts are just kind of cleanly fitting in exactly where they need to go. Almost like this was meant to happen. Now I'm going to go through and obviously smooth this out and make it look pretty before the final build. But, you know, for rough demonstration purposes. Yes, sir. That is looking very nice. And so then what we're going to need to do, let's see where this fits in here. So we're just going to put a little notch right where the tip of that heel, or like I said, the arch of the foot. We're just going to make a little hole here for it to fit. Oh, and I can even probably fit the file in here. And Man, I'm so happy that I'm not doing this all with the saw and utilizing some hobby nippers for some of this little bit more messy and what would otherwise, like I said, be kind of dangerous. Almost lost the tip of my finger over there just now. Forgot that I had a whole other side of the leg to work on over here. Mm. Let's see. Oh, what's going on, Rogue New Type? Good to see you. Surprise snow day stream. We are making a core Zeta Gundam. How you doing, Shirt Lad? Good to see you in the chat there. Yeah, we're getting a little crazy with it today. There we go. And then I think we actually are going to keep that peg joint because I think that the hole that one connects to is still in play. So then, like, this guy would fit on here. This guy fits together here. Where'd I put my leg? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Looks pretty cool. Yep. So still need to cut away more of this piece because it is, I don't want to cut away all of it because it is like a stabilizing part. It makes the leg hold together very well, but like, does it need to be the whole leg? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. And then I'm concerned because as I cut this, I see that like the plastic is stressing and it's like, you know, causing it to bend. But I think we can straighten that back out. There we go. So now I think we've got a large enough gap for the leg to sit in. I need to cut a little more off the top. You know what? For the sake of this piece staying intact, I am actually going to just file it down instead of cutting more. The extra fun part is going to be repeating this with the other leg and getting all of these cuts in the exact same spot. Let's see, currently halfway through finals. If all goes well, I'll be a free, tired man by the 25th. Great luck. Great luck. But no, to answer your question, Rogue, this is how's the AI Shin Matsunaga? This is going to be a core Zeta Gundam. So we've got our core Gundam, well, the core Alice Gundam, I should say. We've got our core Alice Gundam, and the idea is to cut away the internals of the Zeta so that the Alice can then transform into the core Zeta. So I think that this is going to work. think this is going to look super badass, in fact. So it's going to hang out at the back a little bit. It's not going to be as flush as the way that the Alice Gundam looks. So like for illustration purposes, the Alice Gundam, and it actually has like another piece of armor that fits over the back to hide it. I actually don't mind having it stick out of the back like that. That kind of looks awesome. The only thing I might do is like attach so this would be the part that normally sits over the thruster in here. Would it be possible to attach this to the Alice Gundam leg in a way that when it plugs in, it sits flush? Maybe. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind that sticking out of the back just a little bit. That actually kind of looks cool. Oh yeah, I never thought of it like that. It's like an extra sub arm. That'd be freaking terrifying, actually. You see the Zeta Gundam going in for a kick, and then it catches you with a claw. Yeah, this thing is turning out to be pretty badass. And then this is where that knee joint is going to sit. I think we're going, like I said, it it lines up perfectly on here. Question is, how are we going to attach it? I could create like a little notch there and just plug it in, but I think that we're going to need a more permanent fixture. And unfortunately, this is still way too wide to actually fit in the joint, so let the cutting continue. Oh, and it looks like I don't need that little peg joint on there after all. So, actually, I wonder if that was what was keeping it from sitting flush in there. I mean, it definitely sits lower now. If I put the knee. Yeah, this thing's gonna be so freaking awesome. core gap fillet. That would actually be, honestly, if this works, I might do a whole series of core Gundams. I say that, but then you guys know me, like, come on. I've got way too many projects underway as is. We've got to take things one step at a time. And maybe I'll be able to get more detail back into the knee joint here after the fact, but so far, doesn't look good. Yeah, Rogue, I gotta say, like, I don't know if this would be nearly as easy with many other kits. In fact, I was debating because with the Arduino project that I'm working on, and I've got my little tiny circuit board here, with that project, I was debating what scale and what kit I was going to install the mechanics in, right? Let me see. Have something I can. This is just a Privacy Act statement, so it's okay that I tore it up. So, let me illustrate to you guys what my Arduino project is going to be like. So the problem is that the servos that I want to buy, the smallest one that I could find is actually um, about this big, and this is an actual size drawing because I traced the inch underneath my sheet of paper here. So the servo is that big, right? So obviously it's not going to fit into a high grade kit. It might barely fit into a master grade kit. So here I've got the RE100 Zaku Kai, which, it's got a little movable mono eye in there. It's also got a nice fat backpack, which we are going to leverage for this particular project. Well, not the project that we're working on literally right now, but, when this servo comes in. So, like, my plan is, this is our Zaku head. Got our pipes here. Got our mono eye. The mono eye attaches through peg in here, which controls that. And like I said, this is the size of our servo. So the servo is going to be installed in the chest of the Zaku. And just by the nature of, the way that it's oriented, the part of the servo that rotates is this. So like if you had a propeller up there, that's how it would rotate. So if this is our motor, and then we've got our Zaku backpack back here, my plan is to install circuit board in the backpack, which will have wires running to the motor. The motor is going to have a post that runs through the neck and into the head, which will then control the mono eye. And so then that will rotate the mono eye from the motor, and we'll be able to just, when it comes time to take the backpack off, we can, swap out batteries. We can update the program if we want to do that. We can, we have access to the circuit board in here. So this is our PCB. And then what's really cool about the Zaku Kai is that we're not going to lose too much neck articulation, because what we can do is actually mount the PCB to the underside of this joint here. And so that way we are still going to be able to move the head up and down. And because it's going to just be on a post, you're going to be able to rotate the head as well. You're not going to get this movement anymore. It's going to be fixed on a post. So it's really just going to be rotating and then like that. But the eye movement is going to be independent of the rotation of the head. And then everything else is going to be controlled in the backpack. So that is at least the plan for how that's going to work. Again, that is going to be a whole video on its own, but I'm waiting for the servos to come in. Like I said, that was the smallest servo I can find, is like an inch, a square, cubic inch. So it takes up a lot of room. Anyway. Like I said, got a lot of dogs in the fire here. Got way too many projects going on at once. But, I think this is a much more, what's the word? This is a much more traditional style Gundam custom, obviously, doing something build, and it's just fixing some parts together, that sort of thing. The stuff that I'm doing with the Arduino and like building out some circuits and things like that, that stuff, it's intimidating to me. But the problem that I've noticed is that there's so few English-speaking tutorials or just content in general, because what you'll find is there's a lot of these pro builders that do stuff with Arduinos and like will build these transforming Gundams, but then there's no instructions on how to do this stuff. They don't share their code. It's on you to figure out how to do it. And so hopefully what I can do is share my experience with you guys and my goal, of course, as always, is to inspire and enable everyone to do cool Gundam stuff. Like, it's like I want to demystify and destigmatized. I think mostly demystify is the major word, but I want to encourage you guys to do this kind of stuff. All right. Let's see how my come on. Man, I need to get a new one of these batteries. Yeah, man, there's a sweet project. You're truly showing your mad tinkering skills. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I am indeed a man of my own namesake. A Mad Hatter. I like to think that I'm the Willy Wonka of plastic model kits. Oh man, this sucks. Can't get my digital measurements on. Well, I'm gonna have to get new batteries for that guy, but I mean, I can already tell that obviously this is still not narrow enough to fit. Yeah, I mean we're still like at least half a millimeter, if not a whole millimeter, shy of being able to fit the entire leg in there. And yes, I do need to get my hands on some Oompa Loompas. Excuse me, sir. I am a teacher of geography. You know all about Loompa Land. What a shithole it is. God, that movie's so fantastic. See if we can open this guy up. And we're going to harvest that part here. Come on. Come on. There we go. So here is our joint where the leg fits in. We need to find a way to install that inside our Zeta. And it looks like we might already have a way to do so. We can be very delicate about our cutting, which so far, that's I don't know how I feel about that. Although if we do it that far in, my fear is that yeah, I mean it's going to sit too far back. We want it to be kind of up near the front. So I think our best course of action is going to be to cut this bit off and then just glue it down onto that. Just keep shaving until it fits. Hard part is not over sanding. Did the same thing with hollowing out the Leo thighs to slip the Nobel Gundam. Ah, thank you for assuaging my fears about that. And again, this is actually a little bit of a longer stream than I normally do. You guys know that I usually cut off after about an hour, but, like I said, our goal this stream is to accomplish something, We're building something here, all right? Let the man cook. I'm actually going to grit this up a little bit. A little rough sanding. Because that's going to give our glue something to really clutch onto. Probably needs to come forward a little bit more than that. Is it going to be a problem that it sits a little bit at an angle? Maybe. Maybe. We'll have to see. Pop this back on. Yeah, because then it's going to be kind of sitting back like that, which maybe we can hide. We just don't want the leg to look goofy, like one of the aliens from that movie, Arrival. Not the more recent Arrival, the one with Charlie Sheen. Yeah, that movie was awful. Because then, when it's off, then this is going to sit like that, and we don't want that. So, back to the drawing board, as they say. We want this to sit straight up, which means we're going to have to do some more doctoring here. In fact, we might even be something where we use some of the part that we just cut off in order to prop it up. I don't know. We'll see. Worst comes to worst. There always super glue. Go. Oop. To go. Here. Oh boy. Classic mistake. Found it. Oh. Let's see what we've got here. Oh, although I wonder, what if I were to orient it facing this way? Would that be goofy? A little bit. It looks a little goofy. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I can definitely work more with that than I can with, like, having to have it like arched forward like that. I don't know. Yeah. Oh, jeez. So yeah, we definitely have to mount this part in here somehow. And I'm glad that the Zeta has this like built-in platform that we're working with. I do think that it needs to sit. Just for the sake of being not goofy. So I think what we're going to do, try to level this out. And now I'll pull the chat. What do you guys think? Should I use CA glue or super glue for mounting this to the leg? Tweezers here. I don't know. I do know that we're going to need to keep sanding this guy, so. How much dust has the high mobility ground Zaku Vincent Gleisner projected so far? Oh man. Fortunately, that guy doesn't produce a lot of dust on account of being a resin printer, but you know, I'm trying to get my Patreon perks done by the end of this month for February so that, you know, we have some good stuff there. The problem that I've been having is that because of the cold weather, it's been hard to print any prototypes to see if they actually fit. So I did recently move my 3D printer. It's just within eyeshot over here. So like now I can actually do some prototyping because, you know, cold weather and cold weather and 3D printing, particularly resin printing, but also PLA printing, are not good best friends. So now that it's in a climate controlled area, I can actually prototype some of my designs. And so I've actually got something that I'm going to be printing later today. Hopefully it will be a success, but you know how it goes. The iterative process of designing parts that are compatible with Gunpla is, it's maddening, honestly. And I've said this before, if I were just designing parts to fit together with themselves, it would be no problem because I've designed joints before and like I've made it so that certain 3D printed parts can connect to each other. Where it gets tricky is 3D printing parts that are supposed to connect to existing Gunpla parts. And you would think that using my little micrometer here, I would be able to measure things out and get them, you know, pretty accurate, you know, down to 1/100th of a millimeter. But unfortunately, the nature of my 3D printer is that, you know, there's going to be some what's the word I'm looking for? There's some variation in like peg joint size and things like that, you know? So this looks promising. This is actually sliding in fairly easily without too much interference. I think that what we might do is just go ahead and give the inside of the Zeta leg just a little bit of a smoothing. I don't want to take too much of the plastic off, obviously, but you know, the thing about this Zeta is it's actually got like a very, very fine little ridge, like a raised ridge here along the edge. And we don't need that. We do not need that. Let's see. We actually don't need this either. Well, that's gone forever. Oh, jeez. So once we get this so that it's flush, you know, and there's not that little raised edge around the tip of the inside of the leg, it should slide in a little bit more smoothly. Whoop. Although now you guys have got me thinking, like, with the suggestion of, oh, good luck shoveling. Have fun out there. Don't freeze. Um, Now you guys have got me thinking with the suggestion of, doing something with LEDs. Is there something we can do with LEDs? Can we wire up the core Gundam so that, like, maybe we have some kind of, when you put the armor on, it, like, turns on the LEDs, something like that. I'm sure that I can come up with something. Okay. And we've got our having to cross my legs really fast in order to catch these parts as they go flying. Still a lot more sanding to be done. Even then, it might, we might have to do some sanding on the inside of the leg because it looks like we're encountering a bit of resistance with the clawed foot going into the back of the leg. So, maybe we are going to have to do some work here. I don't know how Bandai does it when they can get things within 1,000th of a micron. Yeah, same here. Now, granted, doing things with like injection molding, there's so many pros and cons when it comes to different types of manufacturing, and like injection molding, when you have like CNC parts and you have the molds made out of steel, as opposed to 3D printing something that, obviously it's going to be weighed down by gravity. There's so many other considerations when it comes to like 3D printing, and you might make a peg 7 millimeters in the 3D model, but then when it goes to actually print, it's going to be like 7.2 millimeters just because of like overspill and things like that. So getting the tolerance right for some of those things is way more difficult in the 3D printing world than it is in sort of subtractive manufacturing, such as injection molding. Now, that said, I have not posted my full review of the Kotobukiya Genobreaker kit yet. I have to say, I love a lot. There's a lot of great things about Kotobukiya kits, and there's a lot of great things about the Genobreaker. However, I will say that Bandai does a much, much better job with their QA and with, just things fitting. Like, it just is the quality of a Bandai kit cannot be overstated compared to other model kit brands like Kotobukiya. There are so many issues I had, and not just like the Genobreaker, but in with other kits in the past, like the Kotobukiya Metal Gear Rex, which is one of the first Kotobukiya model kits that I ever built. But like I said, we will get into that. Rest assured. This is a lot of plastic dust. Like I said, we are not hanging up our hat on this stream until we get this leg to fit Got my Mr. Cement over here that we're going to use to get that peg in place. But I don't want to put the peg in yet. Like I said, I'm in here sanding away at the interior of the leg, this wouldn't be possible if I had cemented that peg in place. So I'm glad that we delayed that decision. Parts back together. Leg go. Here we go. That's nice and smooth. Still a little bit of tension when it comes to the foot in the back. Well, actually not too bad. We're just going to take this down a little bit more because, like, as you can see, on this side, the ridge has been brought down significantly. This side, the ridge is still there. Again, Old Man Hatter has to stick his pinky out while he's sanding because of his arthritis. All right. Last test fit before cement that peg in place. Oh my goodness, look at that. Look at that, just like butter. Once our peg is down, we're going to be able to slide that in. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, let's take our Mr. Cement. Apply a fairly liberal amount. There we go. I'm going to apply it to this base plate here. Then fit this guy down. I don't want this to stick, but I do want to make sure that it fits the way it's supposed to. So here's what I'm going to do is while that is fit in there, apply a little bit more of our cement around the edges. Carefully slide that off. Carefully reassemble the Zeta leg. Off again. Go. Slide this guy back in again, making sure that it is fit the way we want it to be. Out. Fit this guy back on. Feeling a little bit of resistance. Or to eat back off of it. There we go. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what we are looking for. Again, I'm not too concerned about this sticking out so much. You know, obviously I don't want it like that, but like having it come out like that is not the worst thing in the world to me. I honestly think it looks kind of badass. Then we are just going to have to attach front knee armor here. Let's see. Just snip that off real quick. And again, we are going to utilize a little bit of our plastic cement. Mentioned earlier that we want this to create like a tiny little V right there. I think we're going to be able to achieve that. I'm going to put like a cement there and a there. Carefully get our Zeta knee on top. Trying to apply as much pressure as is needed to get this to stick, but without applying so much pressure that I, lose control. You see how like the knee is actually going to kind of stick out a little bit there, but that's going to only be in the core form, not the full Zeta form. And I might need to do this with the old CA glue instead of cement. Yeah, this is not sticking. I'm gonna try this guy. Is it a good idea to mix these two? Probably not, but we're gonna try it anyway. Yeah, buddy. That is what I'm talking about. Need to rotate it a bit. Looks like it was off center. Got one of my fingerprints on there. We're gonna have to sand that down later. But no problem. Yeah, look how sick that is gonna look. So this is going to be our core Gundam form. It's got like a little kneecap, like a little knee shield here. And look at the way that it perfectly lines up with the front of the ankle. I can't bend the ankle any further forward, and it like actually fits the way it's supposed to fit. So freaking cool right there, right? Now, where the magic happens, plug it in, fold it down, and my friends, we have a core Zeta Gundam leg. Look at that. You guys have no idea how happy this makes me. This thing is so freaking awesome looking. And so yeah, now we're just going to hollow out the top of the Zeta thigh here, and oh man. Disengage. And we are back to core leg mode. So just for the old shits and gigs, as they say, let's assemble this the way that it's supposed to go. So here we go. Got our core Gundam here. Or core Alice. Alice core Gundam. Core Alice Gundam. Whatever you want to call it. We'll even put his head on for posterity. So there we go. We've got our extended claws there, which look pretty freaking sweet. We've got our new knee armor, which I think looks more complete than this. Like, it looks bare on this side, but on this side, well, that's just awesome looking. Fold our claw back. Slot on our Zeta leg. Claw down. Guys, I think that we are in business. Thank you, Rogue. I appreciate it. I'm digging this so far. So now we just have to repeat that process again with another leg, and then we're going to move on to the torso and arm fittings. Like I said, there's a lot that we got to do with this, but oh man, I think that this is going to come out quite beautifully. Yeah. Here. So yeah, I think that is where I'm going to wrap up the stream. We're just shy of 2 hours. Thank you guys so much for hanging out in chat and, giving me suggestions and encouragement with this project. I am, like I said, I am floored with how well this is working so far. I think that it's going to look really freaking sweet when it's all said and done. We're definitely going to make a lot more plastic dust as things go on. But, is this something that you guys would like to make into an official Midnight Hatter channel challenge? Like, should we, over on the Discord, host a Core Gundam challenge? Obviously, if we were to start it now, this would be my entry. But, if we were to wait until this is done and then, launch a full-on Core Gundam challenge, would that be something you guys are interested in? Let me know. And, hit me up on Discord about it, because I think that would be a lot of fun to do. But, yeah, again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me on this snowy Tuesday. Hope you guys are not freezing your buns off. And, yeah, same bat time, same bat channel tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern with Adam for the standard Midnight Hatter live show. We've got some fun topics to talk about. I haven't done a full video proper on the build night that I attended last Friday, but I'm going to talk to Adam about it, obviously, and talk about some of the stuff that I encountered there, and just like a little bit more about build culture, because I think that there's something to be we can sort of take that apart and unpack it a little bit. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. um, Thank you, Rogue. Thank you, Ultronomus, Shirt Lad, Robert, Magus. Who else am I missing from chat? Dan. Yeah, thank you guys so much. Fuzzy Gamer. Thank you guys for hanging out with me on this random surprise stream. If you guys want to see more of this stuff, let me know in the comments down below, because I am obviously very happy to do some more build streams and just hang out and chat. So, thank you guys so much. Have a good rest of your day. I will catch you tomorrow.